Welcome to Byte-Sized Tech. It feels like every single week we see some new tech breakthrough that just completely changes the game. On one hand, AI can now whip up these incredibly realistic videos from just a bit of text. But on the other hand, we're watching it reshape the job market, like right now, in real time. This quote from Mashable, it just nails the tension we're all feeling. This clash between amazing innovation and, real-world consequences. It's a wild ride, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack today. So let's get into it. So here's the plan for today. First, we're going to dive into what people are calling the AI gold rush. Then, we'll look at the two sides of that coin, the promise and the peril. After that, we'll talk about the fuel for all this, your data. Then, we'll get our hands on some of the new hardware that's making all this possible. And finally, we'll wrap it all up by asking what this all means for us. All right, first up, we're seeing this really fundamental shift in what AI actually is. For so long, we've seen it as a tool, right? Something that helps us search or maybe draft an email. But that's changing. The newest AI is starting to act more like an agent, something that can actually do complex things for us. And you can just feel the excitement for this change when you look at the numbers. Take OpenAI's video-generating AI, Sora. This thing was invite-only, and it still got over 1 million downloads in less than 5 days. That's insane! That's even faster than ChatGPT took off, which just goes to show you how hungry everyone is for these more powerful creative tools. And that's really the heart of it. We're going from AI that chats to AI that acts. Microsoft's latest update to Copilot is a perfect example. You can literally just tell it, hey, make me a 10-slide presentation on the history of space exploration, and boom, it spits out a whole PowerPoint file. It's not just giving you the words, it's building the whole thing for you. Google is pushing this idea even further with what they're calling agentic AI. The whole idea is for their Gemini model to basically take over the mouse and keyboard for you. So instead of clicking through a bunch of menus to buy something online, you could just ask Gemini to handle it. Now, it's smart enough to know when it's a high-stakes command, like spending your money, so it'll probably ask you for a final yes before it hits buy. The big picture goal here, to make using a computer feel less like work and more like a conversation. So with all this new power, how is it actually being used out there in the real world? Well, like with any game-changing tech, it's a bit of a double-edged sword. We're seeing it solve huge problems on one side while totally shaking things up on the other. So let's start with the promise side of things. There's this startup called Counterforce Health, and they're using AI to tackle a massive problem in the US healthcare system, fighting health insurance denials. And get this, they're helping patients build their appeals for free. And this quote from the founder, Neil Shah, really just says it all. 8 hours to write an appeal? Who has time for that? Especially when you're already sick. What's crazy is that a lot of insurance companies are reportedly using their own AI to deny claims really, really fast. So Counterforce is basically using AI to fight fire with fire, leveling the playing field for the average person. It's pretty amazing stuff. Okay, so that's the promise. Now for the peril. Let's flip the coin and look at how this same kind of tech is hitting the gig economy. For millions of people, delivery jobs have become an absolute lifeline. And now automation is stepping directly into that space. And this chart really lays out the stakes. For over half of gig workers, this isn't just pocket money. It's more than 50% of their income. It's a vital safety net. But at the exact same time, companies are rolling out fleets of self-driving cars and little sidewalk robots to do those exact same deliveries. So you can see the Chilean course that's coming for a lot of people's livelihoods. So what's the fuel for all this incredible technology? From the helpful AI agents to the delivery bots, it's data. Tons and tons of data. Our data. And that brings us right to the huge, ongoing battle over digital privacy. And keeping that data safe is, well, a huge challenge. Just recently, a company that works with Discord had a security breach. And what got exposed? The government ID photos of about 70,000 users. These were people who had to upload their driver's license just to prove their age online. And this one incident points to a much bigger trend. We're seeing more and more laws, like in Texas, that force websites to verify your age. That means more of us are being asked to hand over super sensitive info online. Which, of course, leads to the big question. How in the world do we keep this stuff safe? Well, California is trying to tackle a piece of this puzzle with something called the Opt Me Out Act. See, right now, if you don't want a website to sell your data, you have to hunt for some tiny link on every single site. It's a total pain.
This new law would force web browsers to have a single universal opt-out button. One click, and it tells every site you visit, hey, don't sell my info. It's a simple idea that could give us all a whole lot more control.
All right, let's shift gears from all the software and data and talk about the actual gadgets we hold in our hands. Because all this cool stuff has to run on something, right? And we're seeing some serious innovation in hardware, from brand new headsets to big improvements in the phones we already love. So, in the world of mixed reality, it looks like Apple's Vision Pro is about to get some serious competition. We've got some leaked specs for Samsung's rumored Galaxy XR headset, and wow, it looks impressive. If you look at this comparison, it's rumored to have an even sharper screen, it's supposed to be lighter, and here's the kicker, the price could be way, way lower. And hey, it's not always about flashy new product categories. Sometimes the best upgrades are the practical ones that just make life easier. I'm talking about battery life. We're hearing that the next iPhone 17 Pro Max could be the first to break that 5,000 milliamp hour barrier. And that just means more time actually using your phone and less time tethered to a wall. We love to see it. But of course, as our gadgets get more powerful, we have to remember that safety is a huge deal. There was just a recall of about 25,000 of these EcoFlow portable power stations because of a fire hazard that apparently caused almost $1 million in damage. It's just a good reminder that all this new tech needs to be rock solid. So when you put it all together, AI that acts on its own and more wearable tech, it really changes our relationship with our devices, doesn't it? It makes you ask, how do we fit all of this into our lives without going crazy? And this quote from Victoria Song over at The Verge just hits so hard. As a reviewer, she's constantly testing all these new gadgets, and she calls it wearable hell. It's this feeling of just being overloaded, like you're slowly turning into a collection of blinking lights and sensors. And her feeling gets at this bigger vision that some in the tech world are really pushing. You could call it wearable maximalism. It's this idea that you won't just have one device, you'll have a whole ecosystem of them. A smart ring talking to your watch, AI glasses that are controlled by a band on your arm, all of them constantly connected, constantly gathering data. And that really brings us to the biggest question of all, doesn't it? As this technology just keeps getting faster, smarter, and more woven into our lives, who is really calling the shots? As our tools become agents, it's up to us to decide how we want to live with them. And that is a conversation that is definitely just getting started. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one.